Nickel box, meet nickel album. It's our nickel hunt and fill, episode 4. Hey, this is James, and you're watching my channel, Catarrhal Hunter, and that's right, we have episode 4 of our nickel hunt and album fill. We have our beautiful Lighthouse Vista nickel album, and we have a whole lot of space here in this album in the 40s and 50s. In fact, this page has just one lone coin, and it wants some friends in here. And we don't have a whole lot on this page either, so there's a lot of work to do here. In total, we have 117 spots that we can fill with nickels. We have 69 spots filled. Plus, we've got 4 additional extra slots filled with coins that were either varieties or didn't have a slot, like one of the 2006s just didn't have a space available. And so we're hoping we can find in this box a bunch of coins to fill some spots. We definitely need nickels from the 40s and from the 50s. If we got any King George V nickels from the 20s and 30s, that would be phenomenal, because those are slots in the album that are going to be hard to fill. I've never found a King George V nickel in a box yet, but anything is possible and anything can happen. So let's dig into this box and see what we can do to fill some of these spots that we still need to fill in this album. Well, we're just in our first roll, and we're off to a great start. We've got a 1964 here right off the get-go. So we'll add that to our board. That's our first find. And we've got something a little bit older behind it. It might be our first deposit into the nickel cup. It sure is. So that's a good start. It's a good sign. We'll see what we got from here. Roll number 3, and we got a pretty nice looking 1990. And you know what that means. We're going to throw that one under the scope and see if there is any trace of a bare belly. It's definitely a 1990. And I would say that this is not it. That's looking pretty furry to me. But that's a pretty nice looking coin from the early 1990s. This might got a little bit of circulation wear, but you know, we'll just maybe put this on our board, because that's a pretty nice looking coin. It'll maybe just inspire us to find its cousin, the elusive bare belly. Same roll, and we got another 1964, and we'll see if there's any chance that this might be an upgrader. Probably not with those scratches, and it looks like it's got like the circle of death on it. I'm not sure. But it's another 1964 for the board, so we'll put it on there, and we'll keep on the hunt. Roll number 4, and I've got a 1965, and there are 2 varieties of 1965. There is a small bead and a large bead. Before we get too excited when we put this under the scope, the small bead is the common variety. The large bead is excessively rare. So we're talking in the realm of $1,000 plus, even in this condition. And so the way to tell the difference, if I throw it under the scope here, is we want to look at, in the legend, Queen Elizabeth II, the small bead, between the 2 eyes, the Roman numeral 2 here, the small bead lines up with a gap between the beads. And that's what we see. So this is the common version. The large bead, the very rare version, there will be a bead right in the middle of this gap. So that's not what we found. The other piece we can look at, there's either an attached or a detached jewel. This jewel here on the crown in the large bead variety is either attached like it is on this one, or appears to be floating above the tiara. In either case, we found the common version, which means that this nickel is bound for the nickel cup. Roll number 5, we got our first US nickel. It's a 2001P, so we can throw that on the board with our finds. And I saw back there, yeah, a pretty beat up and damaged 1979 that we're going to rescue from this roll and put in the nickel cup. Roll number 6, and I can see a 12-sided edge in here, so we know we got something for the board. Question is it something for the album? Well, I kind of made a mess of it when I tried to lay this down, but I got them all out here now. But here is our 12-sided, and I could see it is a 1962, and that's a pretty gorgeous looking 1962. Just kind of one scratch across the obverse there, but this might very well be an album upgrader, so that's a great one for the board. We'll check that later against the album. That's a gorgeous one. Same roll, we got ourselves a 2000, and I flip it over. It's got the P composition mark. It's a low mintage. It's got the Ring of Death. It's in terrible shape, but we'll add it to the board as a low mintage find. Roll number 9, and we got ourselves an oldie and a goodie. This is a 1958 Jefferson nickel, and that has a fair amount of detail. Look at that, and let's flip it over. That's pretty decent for what we'll find here in the wild north of the border. And so that's a great find for the board. That's just our second American, but that's a 50s Jefferson nickel in our Canadian nickel box. Roll number 12, we got ourselves a 60s Jefferson. It's 64. This one's out of Denver, and it occurs to me that when I looked at that 58, I don't think I flipped it to see where it was minted out of. We probably looked at it, but it's out of Denver. Roll number 14, we got another US nickel here. This one is a 75 out of Denver. It looks like we'll have at least one or two more in here. I might not shoot them all unless we find something really cool, but we're definitely getting some foreigns in the box. Roll number 15, we found a gorgeous 1968. So this could definitely be an album upgrader. We'll have a look at the end, of course, and see how we make out, but that one looks like it might be one for the album. Roll 16, we got ourselves a really nice 1974, and I don't recall specifically how good our 74 is in the album, so I think I'll set this one aside too, and we'll double check later. Roll number 17, and we got ourselves a really nice 2017. It's got some smudges and fingerprints, but there's no real wear on it, so I might just take the soft cloth to that. This one's a really nice one. In this kind of shape, I like to keep it, so we'll see how it looks afterwards, but I'll put that one on the board. That's a beauty. Roll number 20, we got ourselves another laureate portrait. Pretty beat up. It's got some gunk on it. It's a 1963. Roll 23, we got ourselves another laureate portrait. It's a 1964, which means that we can check it for the extra waterline. And it definitely doesn't have the die crack that would come across the KG up here for that extra waterline. So it's not it, but it's another one for the board. Same roll, and I found this one that had a pretty green looking edge. I almost thought maybe we had a US war nickel. It's definitely an American, but it's just a newer 2007 that's got some kind of environmental damage. Maybe this was buried or something, who knows. Same roll, we have our second 1964, not just of the box, of the roll. And again, you can see there is no extra waterline on this one either, though. We're just past the halfway point. Roll number 26. I bring you in because we just found a gorgeous 1965. I think we already have a really nice 65, but this could be a, for sure, upgrader. That is in phenomenal condition. What we're going to do is just scope it and check it to see if it is somehow a rare variety. So taking a closer look, we can see that this is definitely the small bead variety, that basically the space between the two here lines up to a space. But what I am seeing on here is actually some kind of machine doubling. I can see along the side of the queen's head and sort of see all around here. And I'm also seeing, and it might be hard to see in some of the lettering. Yeah, you can't quite see it here, but maybe in the inside of the B. If I rotate it all the way around, so it's not just a shadow, it's evident. It's not a double die by any stretch, but some kind of a machine doubling that has just impacted the design on the obverse here. Either way, that is a gorgeous coin. We'll put it on the board and we'll take a look and see if this upgrades in the album. All right, I got us a 1990 and I just put it under the scope, and you got to see what's happening here. So first of all, it is a little bit of the bare belly. It's not the more obvious version, but you can clearly see where the die deterioration has happened here. So this is an early stage in the die deterioration. But check this out. There is some doubling all across Canada, or at least on the first number of letters. So the C-A-N-A, there is very definitely doubling all across. You can see at the top of the A, the cross part there. That is pretty significant. And a little bit on the date, you can see at the top of the 9s. You can see where that doubling is. So that's pretty cool find. That's something I haven't quite seen before. This is definitely going on the board. We found ourselves something pretty interesting here. And here's the other 1990 we found earlier. We put it on the board for good luck, and I guess it worked, but that's what the Canada should look like. You should see, like, there's no shadows, no doubling, anything. And there is the non-bare version of the belly. Roll number 31 here, we got ourselves another laureate portrait. It's got a round edge, so we know it's either going to be a 63 or a 64. It's a 63. It's in pretty decent shape, so we'll see if it upgrades in the album. It's definitely one for the board regardless. We're all the way in roll 42, and that box kind of got cold for a bit, but not now. Let's see what we got here. It's a 1963 for the board. Maybe she's got some friends in there. And she does have some friends. Look at this beauty, 1964 at the end of this roll. That one is another beaut. Look at that, eh? It's almost got a bit of a proof-like finish. It looks like she's got some sort of frosting on her. And look at that mirror finish. We'll take a closer look here. Let's just throw it under the scope and see what we're dealing with here, if I can get my fingers out of the way. But that looks pretty nice. And no extra water line. But that is a gorgeous coin. We'll just flip it over here and we'll get a look at Elizabeth. That is a beauty, absolutely. Roll 43, and we are definitely coming out ahead in this one because I spot a dime here. I'll see if I can lay this down and see what we got. Where did it go? Where did it go? It's in there somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's a dime, that's for sure. And it's a 1976. Not in terrible shape, actually. I'll put that on the board. It is our first dime of the hunt. And we'll look and see what else we got in here. I could see some old nickel in here, so including this 1969, which looks pretty good here too. Roll number 48, and I thought things were slowing down again, but when I put this into the palm of my hand, I can see a 12-sided nickel, so we'll take a peek and see what we got here. I'm hoping that we got something that we need for the album, because we need a few of these guys, and it is one we already have from the album. It's a 1961. Got a couple more rolls to go. We might get something in there. Same roll, and we got a 1990 here, and I can see it with my bare eyes. This is a bare belly, and it is huge. I've got to put this one under the scope and we'll take a look. Look at that. This has got to be probably the most significant because it's bare on the belly, but it's actually bare here on the neck too, and all over here. So that is really, really significant. It's too bad it's got a bit of a scratch on there. But I'm going to throw up our other bare belly that we've got here just to see the difference, that it's not nearly as significant, and you can see there's still some kind of design over here. But of course, what's really cool about this one is all this doubling that we got on the date, which is really awesome. But that is a pretty awesome 1990 bare belly. And there looks to be some kind of a little bit of a die crack or something on the N of Canada. But that is all sorts of awesome. Well, we got our last roll here, so we'll see if we can find anything good. If not, I'll be back for a wrap up. All right, friends, that hunt is done, and we had a pretty good one. So let's take a look at what we got. We got 16 Jefferson nickels, so 16 foreigns, no other foreigns, but it also includes this 1958 Denver. So we got a 50s Jefferson nickel. That's great. We also got that dime, so we're ahead of the game already. We got 10 laureate portrait nickels, a 61, a 62, 3 63s, and 5 64s, including that stunner right on top there, which I'm going to check against the album in a moment. We got a gorgeous 65, so that might upgrade as well. A couple other finds. We got a pretty nice 74, a pretty nice 78. We'll check against the album. I got a few others that I got here that I thought might upgrade what we've got. We got a low mintage 2000p. But by far the stars of our show were our two bare belly beavers. I'll throw them each under the scope here so we can see what's going on. All right, so here is the first bare belly that we got. Not a huge bare belly, but it's there. You can see it right there. But what makes this one really interesting is all of that doubling on Canada, and that you can see it on the nines as well. So that's really cool. That's sort of a doubly interesting coin. And then, of course, this guy right here, if we see this one with a pretty significant bare belly, which is just awesome. So overall, it was a great hunt. We got lots of nickel for the nickel cup, which is always a good sign. It means we're going to have some older coins in the box for sure. Okay, well, we took a close look at everything we got. We didn't have any new spots filled in the album today. That's the way it goes sometimes. But we did add or upgraded a few of them. We upgraded this gorgeous 1964. We upgraded the 65 as well. And the other one that we added was this 1996. This upgraded the one that was in here previously. So that just looked a lot better. That is the near 6. So we're sitting even, steady, at 69 slots filled in this 117 slot album. Of course, we have 4 extras that are in here, filling up slots that didn't have a labeled slot. So that's the 1990 bare belly we got in a previous hunt. We got a 2006 with no logo, no mint mark, or no composition mark. We have a 1996 far 6 and a 1977 high 7. So we still have a ways to go here. We got more hunts to come. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Catarol Hunter, please do that. Hit the notification icon, be alerted when we've got more videos coming out. We've got new content coming out all the time. Thanks again for watching. So happy to have you here and hope to see you again soon.